Good evening, this is Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is the Bigger Picture webinar for the evening of Wednesday, the 30th of October. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing, learn from it, transfer it to your own charts. I'm not here to issue trading signals. Right. Okay, let's have a look at ES first. Okay, ES, we saw a bit of a decline line later in the day, and we are moving down. I'm thinking we may well make a lower low than this one here, or if we don't, we're forming a bullish triangle. One way or another, I think we're forming a bull flag. I'm not seeing any obvious topping pattern here. I've been writing about it, and I'll be writing about it likely tomorrow morning as well. I'm hoping to get a post out before the open, but I'm looking for bull flag to form here, then retest the high, a bit higher maybe, and then we see where we land in terms of topping patterns. In terms of NQ, we saw a move back below the weekly pivot. I've got this possible rising wedge I'm watching here, and I'm wondering about a test of the rising support trend line. And I've got that currently at 20,100 and, well, 30 area. But obviously, it's a moving target. No current divergence there either. I'm not sure we've got divergence on any of them today. We've got RTY, and we've got a weak 60-minute sell signal fixed there, but it will pretty much reached the possible near miss target already. It may get no higher than that, but if we see a decline on the rest, then we may well find that makes the full target. I've drawn in a declining resistance trend line here, and I'm wondering about a possible lower low. On YM, now YM, I was doing on my post yesterday, I was talking about the breakup from here. Looks a little better on the diet chart, but it's the same trend line. And then a retest of the low. I'm thinking we're going to see that retest the low. Now, depending on where that goes, that could get us the second low of a small double bottom, or equally, it could get us a touch of the possible head and shoulder neckline area here, which I've got at about the 42.090 area. We're on a 60-minute buy signal fix there. That didn't quite reach the possible near miss target, but it got very, very close. I usually reckon that at about the 64 to 66 area. Well, 64 to 68 really, but I think that might be close enough. We'll see. DAX, we're pretty close to getting a possible 60-minute buy signal brewing here. DAX and ESTX have been the weakest today, I think. This could be a flag forming, but I'm not seeing an obvious support trend line here. We would need to go down considerably further to get to the possible head and shoulder neckline or possible double top support here in about the 19,050 area. Looking at ESTX, we've got very possible overall bull flag forming. I've been saying that all week, really. Again, retest the low, and we could get a possible 60-minute buy signal brewing here. All right, let's have a look at these on the bigger picture charts. All right. ES, obviously, we've already made the possible near miss target on the RSI 5 sell signal, but obviously if we get some decline, then we may well make the full target. On SPX, SPX haven't reached, hang on the daily chart, we haven't reached the possible near miss target on this RSI 5 sell signal. I'd like to see this go a little lower. The question is, are we going to break below the daily middle band? That is support here on SPY, on SPX, and on ES. We haven't broken below it yet. On ES, that closed the day at 58.49, so we're below it now. And we'll see whether that can actually turn into a breakdown overnight. We will see. We've now touched and broken the rising support trend line on on ES. Sorry, I'm a bit throaty tonight, but haven't done that in RTH on SPX yet. But obviously we've been testing the daily middle band as support for several days. In terms of where we might go tomorrow, I do have a possible trend line that would be ideal for a bull flag. It's a very nice, already established trend line, and if we were to get down to that, maybe underthrow it slightly, I've got that in about the 57.60 area, and that would be a nice place to make a low for a bull flag. That would involve, however, getting through the rising support, which I've got currently in about the 57.90 area. All right, looking at the Qs, testing the daily middle band, not broken yet. Obviously, we haven't finished with earnings this week, so that's been holding up better than the others. Nothing on the hourly chart really. On the 15-minute chart, I've got rising support here if we reach it. And I would say we've got a nice looking nested double top set up here. I don't know if it's going to deliver anything, but if we see a breakdown below this area here and about the 494 area, then that would have a move down into about the 487, 488 area. That could get us back into the rising support trend line and possibly get us close to breaking down from this double top. Although, as I was saying on my post yesterday, I'd still be leaning towards seeing a retest of 502.81 in the not too distant future. All right, looking at Dire, no current divergence, but on a retest of this low, which we're pretty close to, and if we open here tomorrow morning, we'll be very close to it. We could get a nice looking possible RSI 5 daily buy signal brewing. We've been holding below the daily middle band for several days. Nothing to see really on the hourly chart. On the 15-minute chart, we've got a nice looking flag here, and I was saying on my post yesterday morning that a break up from this flag, then a retest of this low, could set up a good base to head back up from. I'll be watching for that tomorrow morning. We will see. All right, looking at the others on IWM. IWM, we've got on the daily chart, we've been kicking around the daily middle band. We closed slightly above it today, but it was kind of a close thing. So we've been trading through it the last 2 or 3 days. I'm not seeing that as strong support at the moment. I think that's just very much in play. In terms of the pattern setup here, I haven't really got anything strong. This kind of looks like a bear flag. If this is going to break down, it's got a target down and retest this low at 217.37. And at that stage, I would be wondering about a possible test of this support trend line, which I've got in about the 213 area. But I don't know whether it's got the juice to get that far. On DAX, break below the daily middle band today. So that has opened up potential further downside, and I've got a possible head and shoulder neckline in about the 18,950 area, which I'll be watching. On Nikkei, Nikkei broke back above the daily middle band, but of course we've still got the overnight session to come. We may well see some more weakness there. This has just been trading sideways for a few days, but we could be forming a head and shoulders here. You see, this would be the left shoulder, this would be the head, this would be the right shoulder. If we saw a hard reversal, then on a sustained break below the 37.7k area, then we would have potentially a target which would be at about the 35.2 to 35.7 area. So that could get us back potentially to a retest this low here at 35.2. We will see. All right, let's have a look at let's have a look at DX. Now, DX, we've got a possible little double top forming here, and it hasn't quite reached my target to the upside, which is a bit of a concern because it's quite a strong target. We will see how that goes. But looking at the bigger picture charts there, on DX, we have quite a lot of negative divergence now. We've got here, we've now got an RSI 5, a weak RSI 14 sell signal fixed. We've got an RSI 5 sell signal fixed. You can see that on the index as well. But you can see we also haven't quite reached my trend line. I've been playing around with this. I've got it in the right place. Although sometimes it's got this annoying thing of not actually saving quite where I leave it. You can see, hang on. Yeah, it's short. It's not far short, but it is short. So I was looking for an exact test of that trend line. We haven't seen that yet. It may well be that we're going to still need to see that. And that we're going to see a little rally to test that exactly. Because when I was talking about this trend line down here, I was saying that that would be the obvious corresponding trend line, and we are really close to it, but we've not quite reached it. We'll see how that goes. But I think it's definitely not quite reached it. So we'll see. Looking at the other currencies, we've got a buy signal fixed on the RSI 14 and RSI 5 on the euro. We've got GBP USD, we've got an RSI 5 buy signal fixed, we've got possible RSI 5 and RSI 14 sell signals brewing on USD JPY. We're seeing a lot of potential reversal signals. We've got a possible RSI 5 sell signal brewing on USD CAD. All of these, I don't have any divergence currently on the Australian dollar, but all of these really are supporting a potential turn in the dollar here. We got a possible RSI 5 buy signal brewing on NZ as well. So I'm very aware that we may be about to see a turn on the dollar. We've not quite reached my target, but sometimes it stops by just short, but if it does stop just short, then it's more likely to come back and do it later. We will see. Topping processes can take a while. I'm still expecting that trend line to be reached sooner or later. Okay, on ZB, we got a little weak 60-minute. We had a bit of a rally. We had a weak 60-minute sell signal fixed. We've been retracing. And I'm not seeing anything compelling saying this is about to reverse, but we do have some indications so that it might. They're not as strong as the ones on they're not as strong as the ones on the dollar by any means. But looking at the hourly chart, we have a potential break of this nice looking rising wedge. It's a very steep trend line. It may just be establishing a shallower trend line, and we haven't quite made the targets above for the double bottom, but we've come pretty close to them, and sometimes that can be close enough. On the daily chart, we've got a possible weak RSI 14 sell signal brewing or a possible RSI 5 sell signal brewing. These haven't actually firmed up into full targets, and we've got a pretty obvious target above at declining resistance here, which I've got in about the 44.8 area. I'm thinking we may well still go back and get that target. We will see. All right, so bigger picture. I'm still doubtful about seeing a possible test of the of this high here at 49.97. Interest rates have peaked, but nonetheless, I am thinking that this is looking like a bull flag forming. So the possibility is still there. It may be if we see a hard fail that we'll come down and reach this big support level at 32.5, but we're a long way away from that at the moment. So we will see. In terms of the daily middle band, we're a long way above it, but we've been slowing, so everything's been catching up and compressing a bit. We will see. All right, great. Let's have a look at oil. Well, I've still got a target in the 63.5 area from the main triangle breaking down, and we've still not made it. We've got a little double bottom here, which is breaking up. I would say we've actually got a possible weak 60-minute sell signal brewing here, and I'm wondering if that might deliver. In terms of the overall setup here, we've got a possible falling wedge, and falling wedge resistance would be in about the 70.5 area. Looking at natural gas, has given back a lot of last week's gains. As I said, I mean, there's an awful lot of the rolls tend to be large in the winter. This one was 50 to 60 cents. That is not a small amount, and sometimes that gets given back soon afterwards. So we've dropped 30 cents since then. We may well drop more. And I haven't entirely given up on the triangle scenario I was looking at, so let's have a look at that. Okay, let's look at oil first. Oil, no current divergence on the daily chart. We are well below the daily middle band. And on the W-tick chart, obviously we've got the triangle, it's broken down. That has a minimum target at 63.57. And subject to geopolitical disturbances and war in the Middle East, I'm still leaning towards that making target. Certainly, we're not seeing, even with all the trouble in the Middle East, we've not been seeing much sign of strength here. Looking at natural gas, on NG, no current divergence. In terms of the triangle, I'm still wondering, because this high here at 310 was still over still under this high here at 316. So I'm still thinking we might be in an overall bearish triangle, but obviously the bears have got something to prove at this stage. And we came out of the idealized triangle that I drew in. So I mean, admittedly, I was explaining on my last post that we're facing a bit of a headwind here. We had a 30 cent rise on the last roll. We had a big rise on this one, 50 cents, and actually we're probably going to get 20 or 30 cents on the next roll, because those are the three big winter rolls, which tend to add a buck to $1.20 to the price. So in order to stay the same price over that period, it's really got to drop $1.20. So actually, if you look at these ones here, since we were here at about 2.4, the rolls have added 80 cents to the price, but intra-month, we've then dropped 40 cents of that. But we've only dropped 40 cents off that. The rest of it is still in there, and we're going to get another 30 cents higher at the end when we roll in about 4 weeks. All right, let's have a look at gold. Gold. We've got a nice move up here, possible 60-minute sell signal brewing now. We will see how that goes, but I am wondering whether we might see a bit of reversal here. On the silver chart, we've got what looks like a bull flag forming. The head and shoulders has failed with a target at a retest of this high here, just over 35, and I'm leaning towards this resolving into a retest of this high in the not too distant future. If the dollar turns, then that may well be a lot sooner rather than later. So in terms of copper, this has been trading sideways. I'm still wondering about a retest of this low to make a nice looking second low of a double bottom. We still haven't seen it yet. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture on metals. Right, on GC, we've got a possible daily RSI 5 sell signal brewing now. I was saying on the last bigger picture that if we retested this high, then that would set up some negative divergence. If we go much higher, then we're going to lose that negative divergence. Looking at the chart here, we've got that negative divergence, so I haven't got it marked in, on the gold index chart too. And I was showing this possible trend line that could be a target on the bigger picture last time. And I was saying also that if we broke over it, currently in about the 2820 area, then that would be the next obvious trend line to get to. So we will see how that goes. But I've got that up in about the 2950 area, so that could be a very sizable move. If we were doing that kind of move, we would just go through this resistance and make a higher high. And that happens regularly. In fact, here, that exactly happened. We were forming an RSI 5 sell signal until price took it through and made the higher high. So we'll see how that goes. All right, looking at silver. Silver, no current divergence. We will see how this goes. I've still got a possible overall double top here, but I'm not expecting that to play out really. No current divergence on the silver index chart. If we have a look at the weekly chart, you can see we were testing this trend line for a long time. We went through it. The next obvious trend line for this to get to is up in about 37.8 area, and I'm thinking it may well be on the way, and I've got a lovely trend line for that. We will see. But I'm liking the move up into that trend line and possible resistance there. Looking at palladium, we saw a very bearish day today, having got all the way up to 1255. Nice move, needs a retracement. No current daily negative divergence, although if we reversed immediately and retested this high, we would probably get some. But we will see. This was overdue a retracement. I'm not seeing this as particularly bearish at the moment. On platinum, no current divergence, and we had plenty of opportunities to set some up. Again, looking like a retracement, backtest of the daily middle band. No real technical damage so far. We will see. All right, looking at copper. Copper, we've got a weak RSI 5 buy signal fix. So far, that hasn't done anything other than just have this trading sideways. We're testing the daily middle band from below, and we've got what is a possible double bottom here, but it would be improved by a retest of this low here, which we haven't seen yet. Waiting to see. This is compressing. We're probably likely to see a resolution into a big move one way or the other, and my lean would be that's probably going to be higher. All right, GDX, still holding this trendline resistance. If we were to go and test this support trend line, then that would be at about the 38.5 area. On GDX, on the hourly chart, we had a buy signal here that made target. No signals at the moment, and we're just consolidating sideways. We could head down into this target next, but we will see. All right, looking at GDXJ. Don't have an obvious trend line that we've hit there yet, or at least I've got nothing with which has got 3 touches. I drew this one in as a possible channel resistance trend line, but just keeping an open mind at the moment. And these hourly divergence, we've got an RSI 14 sell signal fix, which hasn't made target yet, and generally would. So we'll see how that goes. All right, let's have a look at the other commodities. Okay, KC, this looks like it's trying to break up. We haven't got a double bottom here yet because we didn't quite see a retest of this low. Keeping an open mind, but leaning towards seeing a bottoming pattern and some action to the upside. SB, this look very, very, very much looks like a bull flag forming. Sooner or later, this should resolve up into a retest of this high here in the 23.6 area. On CC, we had a lovely little IHS here, which I showed. I'm not sure that was obvious as far back as the as Sunday, but this I was showing in the mornings, and it's made target beautifully there. We've got a 60-minute sell signal fixed, and that hasn't failed on this full test of the target. I'm thinking we may well see some retracement here, but I'm leaning towards seeing higher, and I'll talk more about that on the daily chart. On ZW, we have been trending sideways to down. This no longer looks like a bull flag. It doesn't really look an awful lot like anything, but I think we've been waiting for something on the soy chart. So we'll come to that in a minute. Corn, possible little double bottom here, no current divergence. But what I've been looking at in the soy chart is we had a nice looking flag here. I was looking at it on the pre-market video, and we have broken down and we have retested the low. I'm liking a double bottom here, and I'm thinking we may well be finding a low here. We will see. All right, looking at cotton. Cotton, possible double bottom here, a bit oversized, no current divergence. Lumber, we had a bull flag. It broke up and it made the previous high, and it went straight through it. In terms of the previous resistance trend line, that we've gone through that too. I don't have a revised pattern on this yet, but I will be having a good look at that, if not before, over the weekend. On live cattle, we got a potential double top here, which I'm watching, all part formed head and shoulders, watching that to see if anything else interesting happens. We've got a 60-minute sell signal, which has now reached target, and a retest of this low and a possible test of this head and shoulder neckline could get a possible 60-minute buy signal brewing. On lean hogs has just continued higher and no current negative divergence. Let's have a look at those on the bigger picture charts. And on KC, no current divergence, but this looks like a bullish bull flag forming maybe, or some kind of bullish consolidation, possibly a triangle. Looking at sugar, this looks like a bull flag forming, holding the daily middle band as resistance at the moment. CC, now this is interesting because I drew in a possible overall triangle here. I'm pretty sure that was at the weekend, and I was saying that we could head up and make the trendline resistance, and obviously that's exactly what we've been doing this week. So that's 1, 2, 3 days. I've got that possible triangle resistance in the 7200 area, and I'm waiting with great interest to see if it makes it. If it doesn't make it, well, it's a bit early for this triangle to be a mature triangle. So I'm not thinking that we would see a break up or down now. I'd be looking for it to continue to form. So ideally, it would come and make this target, although not all of them do. Some triangles are prettier than others. Looking at wheat, this could be an inverted head and shoulders right shoulder forming. And if so, a sustained break up over the 619 area, I think it would be, could get us back up into a target in the 720 area, which would be all the way up here. That could be a really interesting move, and I'm wondering if we might see it. On corn, doesn't look like an inverted head and shoulders forming, but I'm wondering if it might be the poor man's head and shoulders, which should be the cup with handle. We will see. On soy, we've got a nice looking short-term double bottom here, and potentially a larger double bottom, although that would be improved for me if we actually went down and did a full retest of 97340. But this is potentially a very nice looking double bottoming setup. We've got a possible RSI 5 buy signal brewing. We've got a possible weak RSI 14 buy signal brewing. I like it. I think we might be about to see a major reversal in grains, and we'll see how that goes. All right, looking at cotton, no current divergence. Could this be an inverse head and shoulders right shoulder forming? Yes, it could. I haven't drawn it in that way, but at the moment, down in the 70 area, this would be about the ideal area to make the right shoulder low as well. So keeping an open mind on that one, if we were to see a break up over what would be in about the 74 area, a sustained break over that would have a target in about the 84 area. So up here, that could get us pretty close back to the prior highs, so we'll see. All right, great. In that case, I think that's everything. So that's a wrap. So I'll post this, and I'll do another one of these webinars on Sunday. All right, catch you later.